I think Vladimir Putin has been watching Donald Trump for so many years, and seeing him some kind of a soulmate, I guess, because both of them share the same perception, same very cynical and non-ideological perception of the modern world. And I will tell you even more from what I'm hearing from Moscow right now. They feel that that's the end of the United States as they used to be. So,
as the leader of the world.
As the stronghold of liberal democracy.
Okay.
And they compare it to the collapse of Soviet Union, because Soviet Union was the state based on ideology, and since the moment people stopped believing in communism, Soviet Union was doomed to collapse. And finally it collapsed because its leader, Mikhail Gorbachev, was disillusioned with communism and stopped believing in communism and embraced Western ideology, which is liberal democracy. Mm-hmm. And that's some kind of the same process we're watching right now.
But in reverse.
In reverse. A lot of Americans don't seem to believe in liberal democracy. A lot of Americans publicly claim that actually democracy does not exist. It's something very elitist, something very deep state, Washington. Mm-hmm. And we see the new American leader who is completely disillusioned, or I don't know if he was illusioned, but he doesn't seem to believe in liberal democracy, and he embraces new type of Russian ideology, which is cynicism. Vladimir Putin is practicing this very pragmatic form of brutal capitalism without human face, without paying attention to human rights or any kind of values. And they think that that's the same approach that is going to be the new ideology of Trump's America.
And I also think you and others have said, I mean, the former Prime Minister of Great Britain, after the debacle that Vance lectured, Vice President Vance, his European allies about embracing essentially what amounts to hate speech and the kind of speech that political parties are not really acceptable in Europe, and embracing parties that are generally not accepted in Germany, for instance. After that debacle, a British Prime Minister said, this signals a dramatic realignment of the United States away from the transatlantic alliance and the democracies and towards Russia. And he said, Putin and Xi of China must be dancing with joy. Do you see that happening? Because the whole narrative has changed in Russia.
I think we even discussed it with you last time we talked, that Putin's plan actually was to have New Yalta. And he has been talking about that.
Let's just explain what Yalta is.
Yeah. Since 2007, when he, for the first time, had his legendary Munich speech at Munich Security Conference, he started calling for the New World Order. And he says that the treaty that was signed, and the treaty about the division of the world that was signed in Yalta in 1945 by Stalin, Roosevelt, and Churchill, it's not relevant. Obviously, it's not relevant after the collapse of Soviet Union. But he wanted, and he asked to set up the New World Order. And he has this vision in his imagination, that picture, him, American president and Chinese leader, sitting together and dividing the world. And probably Donald Trump is the only American president who fits to this picture. We cannot imagine any other person to be there. And I think I know that the proposal to organize, to start thinking about that kind of new Yalta, that proposal was transferred from Vladimir Putin to Donald Trump, and I guess it sounds perfect for Donald Trump. That's a great photo opportunity.
Have you noticed, you're studying, you're living out essentially in self-imposed exile, and you've been sentenced in absentia for your opposition to the war, right?
8.5 years.
8.5 years, along with other Russian intellectuals who are here, also US citizens. Have you been surprised by what has been termed as like a head-spinning change of narrative in Moscow and on state television and in state media since the debacle in the Oval Office, and since Trump started to use Russian Putin talking points to describe the Ukraine war, and since he appeared to change sides?
That was amazing. For many years, we've been watching anti-American Russian propaganda, and Russia was the leading force in the global anti-Americanism, and Putin saw himself as the symbol of that movement, and they switched overnight. And I enjoyed watching Margarita Simonyan, the head of RT, who started praising Donald Trump and explaining to the audience that was completely unprepared that actually he's a very good and decent man. He's not just a petty businessman. No, he's a very noble statesman, and it was amazing. Russian propaganda is praising Donald Trump. We know that the newborn baby in Siberia was called Trump. And his father is Vladimir, so he's Trump Vladimirovich. And yeah, it's something very unusual.